This video is all about averages, mean, median and mode, and will help you to do the quiz of the same name. So first of all, let's have a look at what are frequency tables. I've got two examples here, an ungrouped one on the left and a grouped one on the right. If we look at the ungrouped one first, this is showing us that 50 people have been asked about their shoe size. The frequency table shows us how many people had which shoe size. So for example, I can see that 6 people had a shoe size of 8. If we look at the grouped frequency table here, I can see that 30 people have been asked how much pocket money they receive. As people might receive differing amounts, these have been grouped into classes. So for example here, I can see that 5 people said that they received between £40 and £50 pocket money. So let's review. How do you find the mode? The modal average is the most common value. So if we put these numbers in order, we can easily see that 3 is the mode here. If we look at this example, we put the numbers in order, I can see that there are 2 numbers that appear 3 times. So this data is described as being bimodal. It's got 2 modes. If we look at how we calculate modes from frequency tables, if we look at ungrouped first, I'm just looking for the most popular one. So I can see that 12 people is the highest, so the mode is 5. If we look at the grouped one, I can see that 12 is the highest class, so the modal class is between £20 and £30. Moving on to thinking about range, to basic level, to calculate the range we need to subtract the lowest number from the highest. So if we identify them here, 12 take away 2, the range is 10. So if we go into frequency tables again, if we look at the ungrouped frequency table, the lowest value is 3, so my range is 10 take away 3, which is 7. If I look at the grouped one, I've got my lowest class and my highest class, but I don't know whereabouts people fell into this. So the possible range is between £0 and £50. If we now move on to think about median, the median average is the middle value. So if I rearrange these numbers, I can identify the middle value as 6, and this is the median. But when I've got an even number of numbers, I don't have one middle number. So I've rearranged them again, and you can see that there are 2 numbers in the middle, and I use the midpoint between the 2 middle numbers, so the median here is 4. If we look at calculating the median from frequency tables, I need to find the midpoint in the data, and to do this we take the total frequency, add 1 and divide by 2. So if I do this in this case, my midpoint is 25.5. So I need to identify where the 25th person would be. To do this, I need to add a column of cumulative frequency, like so. I can then identify the median class. I can see that the 25th person has a shoe size of 6, but my midpoint is 25.5, so I need to go into a shoe size of 7. And finally, how do I find the mean? It's the mean average of these numbers. It's calculated like this. I add all the numbers together first. I then divide the answer by how many numbers there are. There are 8 numbers in this case. 24 divided by 8 equals 3, and 3 is the mean. Now we have slightly different ways of approaching this for ungrouped and grouped frequency tables, so we're looking at ungrouped first. First thing I do is add a column multiplying the first column by the second column, in this case shoe size by frequency. I then need to find the total of that new column, and then I can calculate the mean, which is the total of column 3 divided by the total of column 2, and in this case gives me 6.98 as my mean. If we now think about grouped frequency tables, if I followed the same steps as for ungrouped, I would need to add a column multiplying the first column by the second column, but that would leave me having to multiply a range. Instead, I add a column with the midpoints of each group. So if we look at 0 to 10 here, the midpoint is 5, and I can create the midpoint column following this principle. I then need to add my column multiplying the second column by the third column, money times frequency, and then find the total of that new column, which is 910. And then I can calculate the mean, which is the total of column 4 divided by the total of column 2, which gives us a mean of 30.333. Now you could have a go at the quiz.